I was watching an interview by, in fact, she was delivering her speech, Joyce
Maya.
Banda.
Joyce Banda.
Joyce
Okay.
Banda. Amazing. There's a book she wrote. I don't remember the title, but part of it is 0 to 10. She speaks about this concept of between ages 0 to 10. That's when you either create or destroy a female, which I thought was very powerful. So especially when you go across sub-Saharan Africa, there's so many things and challenges that particularly females face. I think as males, we take it for granted, but we do enjoy certain privileges. So the question I want to get to is, how important is it for a brand to get into conversations beyond their core services?
Sure, it is. I mean, like, that is what gives me satisfaction in my job, in my role. I mean, we're in an age now where purpose is important. We're in an age where brands and businesses must leave a legacy or question what legacies they're going to leave in the world and the impact they're going to make in people's lives. I think we are privileged to be in holding positions and in seats where we are shaping the narrative and participating in shaping cultures. So for me, I think selling the products, selling health insurance, car insurance, household contents, or long-term investments, or savings, is easier actually, because you know that is what the toughest job is. Crafting narratives that are bigger than the financial transaction.
Wow, that's amazing. So you always hear conversation, especially from thought leaders, that who are you fooling? What you're selling is an insurance or an investment. Just do the job and let other people focus on. But I've always found that within the context of South Africa, there's definitely a need for brands, companies to do more, to almost take the lead in having these conversations.
Yeah, and I think there's like so much that needs to be addressed in terms of just daily living that's happening on the streets outside the boardroom, and NGOs and governments can only get so far. I think corporates have a bigger role to play, partly because we have the resources to do it, and secondly, we just have the responsibility because our products are consumed out on the streets and in the people's homes. So we wouldn't be doing justice if we didn't address those matters.
That's amazing. So you've done some great work.
Have I?
You have.
Yeah.
Do you mind talking about your past projects? No? Brands?
Would love. I mean,
fantastic.
Listen, that's what the
You never
CV
know.
is for. That's what LinkedIn has.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think one of my best projects was the What's Your Next campaign.
Yeah.
No, seriously. When I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think what was key for me was the articulation of the category role. So banking, financial services are meant to sort of advance you, take you forward, help you. But what I loved about it was the interpretation of that within the consumer context. This idea of what do they call them? The slash consumers.
Yes.
You're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing. So I thought from a narrative point of view, that was powerful. And then from a branding marketing point of view, what I loved is that I could see how it filters through different products. You could sell business, What's Your Next? I'm not sure about funeral though.
I mean, that's the next for all of us.
That's the last.
It depends.
That's the last.
But I mean, whether it comes to your life, young or old, but it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So I thought it was just beautiful piece of work. I don't know if you want to say something about that.
Yeah, of course. So it was one of my most favorite pieces of work actually that we delivered. I think that I had always been questioning myself and asking the team that why is it that when financial services communicate, most of the time, the communication is very cold and clinical and professional and disconnected. When you're talking about ambitions and success, it's a shot in New York of just some serious looking guy staring and gazing at the open, sky. And it's like, get a credit card with us. I was like, oh my God, slit my wrists, literally. So what we pushed ourselves to do is to look at South Africa and understand what progress means to them, because that Standard Bank is about progress and it's about moving forward. So we had to unpack progress, but make sure that actually we talk human to human. So we had to walk away from boardroom speak. We had to simplify. We had to use like really language that resonated. And the challenge often with banks is that the range of client is like your corporate client with billions of investments with the bank to my uncle who is looking after a family of two, is a truck driver, has a house in Richards Bay. So we had to find an insight and a human truth that was relevant for both those extremes. And what's your next was that idea. It was the idea, it was personal, it kind of asked the question to an individual. It also, like you said, it applies to businesses. But the magic with What's Your Next is that we needed employees to be as passionate about the campaign and to see their role in the message. And that campaign achieved that.
So that's amazing from Standard Bank point of view. So what are you doing now? What is your favorite piece of work that you've done here at Momentum where you work?
So one, I work for Momentum Metropolitan and
Holdings.
Momentum Metropolitan Holdings, get it right, thanks. I've been in my role now for nearly 3 years. It's been quite an incredible journey. One of the things that we've done is we had to reposition our brands. Momentum and Metropolitan are fantastic brands with great equity. It's just we needed to remind South Africa that they exist, and we needed to position them in a way that is emotionally engaging, and also in the clutter in the industry we had to make sure we stand out. That's the first job we had to do. The second thing is that we had to actually shift how we engage with employees. Like I said in my previous campaign, our employee marketing team is working harder at making sure that we get as much internal excitement as we do externally. And then, so if you're talking about work that I've done recently, I mean, Metropolitan, what matters to you matters to us, has just been a piece of work that has reminded South Africa and our employees that Metropolitan is about the power of the collective. But to deliver for the collective, you've got to understand what matters at an individual basis and at a group basis. So we've done fantastic work on the brand. We are also doing an engaging campaign now to talk about what love means and beyond, Valentine's or the occasion of Valentine's Day, etc. And then on Momentum, we had to remind ourselves that the brand has always been about success. If you look back in the history, the brand was about success. And the company has a DNA of being maverick, of challenging the status quo and showing up differently to its competitors. So in the last 2 years, we've pursued that, and that's where Sperm and Egg showed up, which is fantastic. Yes, I said it, Sperm and Egg. Our campaign was amazing. It talks about the journey and success and different milestones that our clients have to go through. And you spoke about Women's Month, and what we did was what we called Momentum, where we flipped the conversation about success and tapped into the insight that women have to talk more confidently about their achievements. We've also been huge in cricket. I've had the relationship with Cricket SA for many, many years. We've added the Momentum Proteas, the women's national team. And we also just dialed up our conversation around cancer, because Pink ODI is a flagship event in the Cricket SA calendar. And we started something we call Momentum Forces, which facilitates better conversations about cancer. So there's a lot we're doing in the journey of repositioning our brands and transforming the narrative so that we are seen in the cluttered environment and have space in terms of minds and hearts of our target market, and obviously our advisors and brokers.
That's amazing. So I'm getting this consistent thing of the consumer at the center. It doesn't matter where you've been, but this idea of the consumer, not just clinical marketing and advertising.
I think they say the more the things change and the world changes, the more things stay the same.
Absolutely.
I think that the power of a human truth and the power of an insight is something that will never get dated. And as a marketer, I get frustrated when I see work that is not grounded on
Yeah.
a compelling insight or human truth. And I'm thinking, what a miss, in terms of what we are about in our profession. So yeah, people and connections remain important to me.
Okay. So just to double click on that, the consumer. So I'm now just thinking about the relationship between a client and an agency. So let's say, for argument's sake, the consumer understanding, that's the pillar. Who should bring the unpacking of the consumer?
In how I lead, my teams know that we all have that responsibility. I value collaboration, and sometimes it's harder for agencies, not looking at anybody. It's harder for agencies to accept that we collaborate in doing the work. But I actually think if people just left their egos, outside, and because we're all passionate about the same topic, between client and agencies, I think everybody holds that responsibility.
Okay. One word answers. Tell me what comes to mind. Ideas?
Think hard first.
Strategy?
It's about solving problems.
Creative?
Must be huggable and noticeable. I say to my team all the time, give me work I can hug. I even want a poster that's huggable. It must look beautiful.
Absolutely.
I must want to frame it in my home. That's the standard I have.
Okay.
So when I talk about huggable work, my team will know.
Okay.
Yes.
CMO?
People.
Okay. Innovation?
Can come from anywhere.
South Africa?
My heart.
Lovely. I love that. So if you were not doing all of this, what would you be doing?
I don't know.
Or where would you be?
Would I need to be making money or not? Or is money not an issue?
So I think this answer or this question actually speaks to if money was not an option or was not an issue.
Great. I would be creating content.
What kind?
And
about what?
I love food.
Okay.
I love conversations.
Oh, yes.
I enjoy getting people who don't know each other to sit at one table and just chat. I think food facilitates conversations and connections. I would be out on the beach and just having the biggest, fun and connecting with the locals. But jokes aside, I think I would be actually just getting people to connect with each other and to learn from each other. I enjoy that.
That's amazing. I'll ask you two last questions.
Sure.
Second last being, so you always see new things in different categories or facets of marketing, advertising, and brand building. So in digital, for example, there's always something new. There's a new way to communicate on Facebook, there's technology, there's augmented reality, but fundamentally from a marketing point of view, advertising point of view, where or what do you think is the next frontier? What is the new thing that we should all be thinking about?
I think the new thing is storytelling. I spoke about this a while back when I was asked about the skill set I think CMOs ought to have. I think CMOs and marketing in general ought to be good storytellers. When you're selling an idea, I find I sell best when I can tell the story.
Yes.
When you are inspiring a team, whether it is for creative purposes or for execution purposes or just for buy-in, I find I'm more successful if I tell a compelling story. And then it's the age of content and entertainment.
Yes.
Advertising has to participate in entertainment and storytelling. So I would strongly, that's my thing, like how do we become better storytellers?
Okay. Do you want to talk about the thing you did when you participated, but in a way that sort of lifted you in terms of visibility on social media, just recently with the budget speech?
Oh, the thing we did. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, budget speech. Great. So we do so many things. figure out which file to tap into. So budget speech was an exciting project on Momentum. We approached the budget speech project from an angle that says there are generic things that we know will be done by every brand, particularly by every financial services business. They are going to update you on facts. They're going to kind of bring out the tax has gone up by this and that, whatever, investments, brackets, tax relief or whatever will be from here to there, syntax, So all the facts would be communicated. We knew that. The second thing is, in financial services, we also understood we needed to bring it back to our products and say, if that change is coming from the budget speech, therefore the implication in terms of your products and how you interact with us is the follow, is that. So we did the basics.
Yes.
Our challenge was, what is the relationship between our proposition and the occasion of budget speech? And that is where magic came. So over and above the generics, we did a 10% almost like component, which was about enabling women to participate successfully in the economy, but particularly enabling women in business. Everyone is talking about the role of women, one role of gender equality, access to opportunities available to all people, and there's a wide gap between opportunities available to men versus opportunities and access available to women. So we kind of dialed that up and we said, how do we enable women entrepreneurs to have more momentum in their businesses? And that's what we did. So we said, tag us, retweet, get in touch and let us know about women businesses or women-owned businesses that deserve an opportunity and would do with more momentum on their journey. Absolutely. And it was fantastic. We've got like loads and loads of businesses have been put forward. We're going through a process now with a panel to identify, but we don't want to give money to people to do, buy a handbag or groceries. We really don't. We would like to, because if participation in the economy means that the money will go into buying and enabling the business to grow. So it's another vehicle. It's buying more sewing machines. It's hiring 10 more people, and women need that. So we are facilitating through our various executives in the business, and we're excited to see how those businesses can have their momentum shifted.
Okay, that's amazing. So I was going to ask what your topic was going to be, but I think I'll let the audiences come to the event and find out. But
yes, I'm so excited.
I'm glad.
Oh, yeah.
But based on what you said, I think it's beautiful in principle, in that, so I always say, even TV can be the worst channel for you. So it's not about the channel per se, it's about what goes through it. So I love how you took this idea of the budget speech, inclusion in the economy, and didn't just do a generic thing. You tied that whole conversation into your brand about women empowering, equality, pushing momentum, and you're actually doing something that's tangible. So next year, next budget speech,
oh God,
we'll have something to look back. There's something to look back to.
Don't you find it hard though to do better than your last excellent performance?
Always, that's the challenge.
The challenge is like, where do I go next?
So in fact, the other day we were talking about Usain Bolt, for example. It's like once you hit that world record, everything else is just below par, I know. It's incredible. But I look forward to the next budget piece. So hopefully you'll be giving us feedback on the women that you funded.
Yeah, I can't wait. And we really there are many stories about women who are doing incredible things. And there are many women who are doing incredible things that could do with more support to do much more. And I'm excited that I'm in an organization that's shaping that chapter and participating in that chapter.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I always love brands that do more than communicate, which is a concept you speak to about assets, new assets, move away from old assets. But I think maybe that's the conversation for the big day.
For the big day.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. So thank you again for letting us into your space, into your headspace and your offices. Lovely area. We look forward to, I'll announce the date shortly.
Thank you. I look forward to it too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.